Hey, I'm Ben and I put new videos out like this every week, so if you enjoy what you see here today, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Today I've got some new mods on the Gen 3 KLR 650 that I'm going to go out and test. The first thing is going to be these ProGrips on here. These should be a lot more comfy than the stock grips. Then underneath those, we've got the Tusk grip heaters. These should definitely help extend my riding season into the cold Wisconsin winter. Before we take the bike out, I want to show you guys exactly what installation on this stuff looks like so you know what you're getting yourself into. If you want to pick up these accessories or anything else that I've got on the bike, take a look down in the description. I've got a bunch of affiliate links to all my stuff on Rocky Mountain ATV. If you guys use those links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps me make more videos like this. And I want to thank everybody that has been using those links. It really does make a big difference. So the instructions that come with the grip heaters essentially say that you can find any keyed power wire, meaning a wire that becomes energized when you turn the key on, and just tap into that with the little guillotine tap that they give you. Because I have the base model and because I did stick the relay underneath this fairing here that powers the wires that attach to my 12-volt socket here, and the wires that would have attached to the USB port over there on the Adventure model. They also power the plug under here that would run the Adventure floodlights. Because I've got that and because I already have a USB plug in my 12-volt port there, I didn't need the USB port here, so I'm gonna tap into that. Now, technically, I'm sort of going to be going against what the manual says. They have each one of those wires broke out into a wattage consumption. And this one, if I remember right, I think is only supposed to put out 10 watts, or only supposed to have 10 watts running through it. You should really be pulling the tank off and plugging into the factory spot for the grip heaters. That supposedly is going to be able to provide more watts. Really shouldn't be that way because they all feed back or feed through a 15 amp fuse, which really, if it's anything like a house, you should be able to run, well, 12 amps through it all the time. And they basically say that the whole system is only supposed to take 80 watts. Now, all those numbers do add up to 80 watts, but even that 80 doesn't really make sense to me because if you divide the watts by the volts, you get the amps, and that's only 6 amps. I don't really know. Maybe somebody that knows more about it can let me know down in the comments. But to me, it seems like any one of these ports, as long as you don't exceed that amp threshold, you should be just fine. But technically what I'm going to show you today is not right, per the manual. So follow your owner's manual. Pull this little fastener in here at the top of this black piece of plastic. Make sure you don't lose your plastic washer. Then this will just pop straight out and away from the bike. And it always seems to take the little grommets with it, so just make sure you pull those off and just stick them back in the fairing right away so later you can actually get that piece back onto the bike. Then that will expose one of these little fasteners here, and there's the two more that you can always see. We'll get those pulled out. Those also have the little plastic washers. Don't lose those. Then we've got our first big fastener here that fastens the fairing to the tank. That will have the metal collar on it. The lower one here does not, so just keep those separate and don't put them in the wrong spots. Then we've got this fastener here that's holding my Dirt Racks crash bars on. If you don't have crash bars, you will still have a fastener there. It sort of holds the frame together up there. Now I'm going to be pulling my skid plate off of here just so I can get to the two fasteners that pinch my Dirt Racks bars to my frame. If you don't have crash bars, you won't have to worry about this, but if you don't have crash bars, you will have to worry about breaking your plastics and your radiator, and you will never want to take the bike off-road, and if you do, you'll be afraid that you're going to drop it all the time. So I would highly recommend getting some crash bars. They're just a good idea for a big bike like this. It's a lot safer for you and for the machine. So then inside of the fairing here, we've got 3 fasteners on each side. These are kind of a coarse thread screw. You will need a short little stubby screwdriver like this to get at them. Those just come out, and then we can pop the panel directly out. There's these 2 pins that go into 2 more rubber grommets up at the front of the fairing. And I'm going to pull my hand guards off of here. You will want hand guards on a bike like this as well. Save your hands, save your levers. Just a good thing to do. So then we're going to put some compressed air underneath the grip and kind of blow that up like a balloon. That'll break the glue loose and make it come off a lot easier. And then we're going to take this with the back still on it, find a good spot where I've got plenty of motion there. Once I've got that figured out, we'll pull this off, and using the heat element lines, I will line up the element with the tube and stick that in place. Notice I've got the seam at the back, not where my fingers are going to be. And then once that's in place, I'm going to take a zip tie and zip tie down those wires just so the little solder points don't get broke off eventually. Now I'm going to cut the end off of my new Pro Grip here. You can buy these with the ends already removed, but I kind of wanted to try this set out using compressed air again to get that on there. Run the wires down, in between the bar and the brake lever and zip tie that up into a place where I will have plenty of range of motion for the throttle tube, but not so much that it's going to get caught on anything. We'll run those wires down along the factory wiring here to a central point that is going to be more or less unaffected when the bars are turned. I'm just going to zip tie that all down into place. I would recommend not using green zip ties. That's just all I had. So we've got both of them going down underneath the fairing there. I'm going to find a spot for my switch. We'll just stick the switch through from the back side, stick the little plate on, and put on the little nut and the locking nut. And then we've got the wiring here, the side that has the resistor on it, sort of counterintuitively is going to be plugged into the high side of the plug, since the switch is sort of opposite. And then we've got the other side here that does not have the resistor, that is going to get plugged into the low side. So we've got all that wiring here. The opposite side is going to be just plugged right into my factory USB wiring there. We'll show you how we're going to do that in a minute. I've got all of the wiring ran down, zip tied up, and we've got the cables from the right side and the cables from the left. It doesn't matter which ones you take, you just need one from each. So I'm going to split those off. So we've got a short with a long, long with a short, and then those are going to get connected together, and then take one of those wires, doesn't matter which one, connect that to the center of the switch, and then the other side is going to be our ground. So we could run that to a fastener on the frame somewhere, but I'm just going to take this side and connect it right to that factory plug. So I've cleaned my wiring up here a little bit and removed some and then reconnected those two lines that originally had the T in it. This side is still the hot line that's going to get connected to the hot side of this factory USB plug here. There is a male and a female end, and the female end has these two little rubber caps in it that we'll have to pull off, and we'll have to figure out which side is the hot and which side is the ground. I'm going to pick those two little plugs out of there and then unplug this, and then I can stick my multimeter in here, and it looks like the white line is going to give me 12 volts there on the multimeter, so we know that's the hot side. So we've got all this wiring now zip tied down from the heating elements, and then those just get connected kind of at this central point. You can see the little red connection down there. That's where the lines go from 2 to 1. So we've got just the ground and the hot coming through here. These are actually wires that I had to add on. You only get so much wire, and if you're going to do a long run like this, you will need to add some. Just make sure you use a heavier gauge, not a lighter gauge wire. And then we've got the ground line here along with the connection there for the switch, and those two are going to get prepped here. So I'm sliding a little grommet on there, and then I've got this special connection that's going to plug into that factory plug, and I've got this special crimp tool. I can put links for this stuff down in the description. So we're going to crimp that onto the wire and then crimp it onto the sheathing itself actually. And after those two are prepped and stuck on good, and I've done the tug test, I'm going to stick them into the appropriate sides here. So that's going to be the side that will get connected to the hot white wire on the bike. Push that grommet down into place there with a zip tie end. And I'm going to prep the ground side here, crimp that on and pop it into place. Push that little grommet down in there as well. Then that is ready to get plugged back into the male side, and we will just stick that back up on its little stay there on the frame. Pop it into place. And as you can see here, I've got the resistor tied up in a way that it's not going to get bashed around. It's also not going to be able to melt anything, because essentially how this resistor works is it expels heat.
Hello, dear. So I'm out for the first ride with the grip heaters on here in the new grips, and I think it's like 40 degrees. I do have my MSR winter gloves on, which definitely adds some warmth and some good protection. Obviously, you have to still ride with a warm pair of gloves, but I can definitely feel the heat coming through the grips and the gloves. These feel awesome, and I think I would be a little bit chilly and have some not so happy fingers without these on here. I do have them on the high position. I feel like the hot setting is really the only one that seems to make a big enough difference anyway. It's not necessarily enough to burn your hands on like a 30 or 40 degree day. In the 50s, I think it definitely is. I've found myself having to pull my hands off of the grip heaters on my other bikes. Keeping them close on tonight since it is a little bit chilly. As far as the grips themselves go, I really like these. I kind of like that they're a little bit kind of fatter in the center and then sort of taper down at the ends. They definitely feel good. I guess we'll see how they feel if I ever get to take this bike off-road again before it snows. but I think they definitely feel good on the road. They feel like they kind of damp down the vibrations just a tad. I mean, they're not going to make a huge difference, but I think because they are so thick and kind of jelly, they definitely do isolate you a little bit from the vibrations. And I'm definitely happy to have them all on here. So I would say all worth picking up and definitely worth the time investment. However, that can be a little bit extensive if you have never done anything like that before. And even if you have, just kind of running the wires and stuff makes for a little bit of a slow process. But hopefully this video was helpful to you guys in that sense. If it was, be sure and let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button. Until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out, enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you see new videos when they come out every week. And check out some videos in the meantime. See ya.